Hi everyone. I hope you guys are all having a great day today. I'm going to read chapter two of We Were Kids Who Found Their Way Through the Cosmos. Like and subscribe. And if you are interested in not hearing my voice and just reading the book for yourself, please click the link below. Thanks. So, chapter two, Law of Attraction. The Rose family parks their car in their driveway. They've just driven out to their new suburban home. James and Jasmine, 11 and 9 respectively, lives in their one-bedroom apartment. They would spend their Saturdays getting into good trouble with their many cousins and Sundays having dinner at their grandmother's house. The meal was always savory, like chicken pot pie, corn chowder, and biscuit and gravy with a piece of baked chicken on the side. Those were James' favorite times, and in an instant, it was all taken away when his father surprised the family with the news that they would be moving to a bigger home 45 minutes outside of New York City. James hated the idea of leaving, but he didn't have a vote on what was happening. James' father grew up in a small town and wanted his kids to see the slow pace of small town life. What James remembers is his older cousin telling him before he got into the car, your old friends will always be in your heart. Remember, old friends are gold and new ones are silver. Even as a child, James found his cousin's wisdom to be lacking. James tried to interrupt the statement the entire car ride. His cousin also told James, as long as you keep them in your heart, you will never forget them. James thought about all this until the car came to a screeching halt. His dad looked in the back seat, beaming with excitement, only to find he was the only one who felt that way. Now at their new home, there's something new for everyone. James, along with the entire family, gets out of the car and stretches his hands out wide. He pops the trunk open, walks over to it, and grabs a box. Jasmine grabs a box as well. Jasmine repeats what she has heard many suburban families say when entering their new home: home sweet home. James pouts as he gazes at his new house. It has three bedrooms and one bathroom, no basement and grass that is as high as a Midwest cornfield. The house is 1,000 square feet with a total lot size of 10,000 square feet. Looking out from a window into the backyard, James realizes that the friend he once had will not be around. He now ventures into this foreign neighborhood to make new friends. Jasmine and James are looking around the house as their father Jim enters with multiple boxes. What you guys think? Jim walks to the living room and unloads the boxes. He turns to his wife Patricia and kisses her. You think we're doing the right thing? Patricia asks nervously. Jim, confident in his decision, looks at Patricia. We get to say we own a house, have a share in the American dream. Patricia looks at her kids go into their rooms. Jasmine is excited, and James not so much. I know. I just feel bad that our kids are going to miss their old friends. They'll, they'll make new ones. I know, but James has been sad all day. He'll be fine. Eventually, I know. She pauses. I'm going to talk to him and try to cheer him up. Jim smiles and nods his head. Patricia walks to James' new bedroom that is already painted his favorite color, teal blue. James has two windows, one to the left of the home, where he could look out to the front yard, and the other window is located to the back of the room, a few inches from where his closet door is. James puts items from a box away in his bedroom. He turns around and faces his mom. You can come in. Patricia comes in and sits on the bottom of the bed. She looks at James inquisitively. How you feeling? James, even at a young age, understands that having a house rather than an apartment is a big deal. He tries his best to say the right thing, but his tone lacks conviction and leaves the words that comes out less than desirable. I'm okay, he says in a monotone voice. The tone of his voice makes his mom want to be all mushy, but knows that she was not the time to be overly sensitive. Just okay. You're not happy that you have your own room now? I think that's pretty cool. James sits down next to his mom on the bed. It's cool, but it's not the city. Patricia grabs her son by the chin. It's not supposed to be, sweetheart. You know your father has been saving for years to give you an opportunity at better schooling and seeing something besides the city. When I was your age, I didn't have my own room. I shared a bedroom smaller than this with all three of my sisters. If I was you, I'll give this a shot because this is a better opportunity for you. I will give this a shot because this is a better opportunity for you. We'll visit the city often so you can hang out with your cousins and see some of your friends. James gets up and opens another box for him to unpack. It's not the same. Listen, we moved so you can see something different and see what this has to offer. I want you to wake up and see the possibilities here. You shouldn't feel bad that your parents love you and are doing what they can to show you something different. Moving here is not saying you forget about where you come from, but don't be afraid to see what this town has to offer. Do you understand? James nods his head and puts another item away. When he hears a basketball bouncing outside, you hear the ball bouncing? You and Jasmine should go outside and make friends with some of the kids, suggests Patricia. James walked over to Jasmine's room, wondering if she wanted to join him outside. Not used to her brother asking her to tag along, she throws her Barbie on the bed and gets ready to go. They walk a few houses up the block where all the boys are playing basketball and the girls are jumping rope. Jasmine walks up to the ladies and asks if she can jump. One of the girls offers her a spot. Jasmine stands patiently taking in the rhythm of the girls, twirling the rope, and jumps in once she's ready. She comes close to breaking the neighborhood record, or at least that's what she's told. James stands next to the boys that play basketball, clears his voice to ensure he's heard over the sound of the bell bouncing. Hey, can I play? Malcolm, who's the same age as James, offers a handshake and introduces himself. 14-year-old Billy interrupts the peaceful exchange. Nah, you can't play. We don't know you. Making sure everyone hears him, James looks around confused and says, I know. That's why I introduced myself. Billy responds, ball still in hand. If you want to play around here, you have to beat me first. James, unfazed by the challenge, says, that won't be a problem. Check up. It's clear that Billy is the king of the court as all the other kids step away from the challenge to continue. Malcolm moves out of the way and sits next to the girls who have also stopped jumping at this point. The game between James and Billy appears to have captured everyone's attention. Billy passes the ball to James' chest. James passes the ball back, and Billy throws it towards James' head this time. James moves his head out of the way and catches the ball. Billy, ball's checked, punk. The game is 7. James smiles at Billy's face. He shoots the ball over the taller Billy. The ball goes in through net. James smiles at Billy's face. He shoots the ball over the taller Billy. The ball goes in through the net. Let's hoop. James looks at his sister, and the girl next to her turns to Billy and repeats the score mockingly. 1-0. Billy thinks it's beginner's luck. He gets the ball from the hoop and passes it to James. James dribbles the ball once and shoots it into the hoop again. The score is now 2-0. Billy grabs the ball and hits it in anger. The ball flies over everyone out of view. James lifts his head and tracks the ball the way an outfielder would in baseball and catches it. He takes a deep breath to maintain his composure. The ball is checked again. James dribbles the ball a few times with his right hand before he runs a little to his right and crosses the ball over to his left hand. He runs past Billy, gets to the basket, and lays up the ball. The score is now 3-0. The ball is checked again, and James dribbles the ball a few times with his right hand before he runs a little to his right and crosses the ball over to his left hand. He runs past Billy, gets to the basket, and lays up the ball. The score is now 3-0. James gets the ball again from Billy. Billy takes a step closer towards James, blocking his view of the hoop. The previous 3 times he scored, Jimmy had a clear view, but now he figures his best chance for a decent shot is to emulate the GOAT, Michael Jordan. He remembered that when Jordan was between a rock and a hard place, he would try the signature fadeaway. Of course, James would try not to have his tongue out. He runs wild, dribbling the ball with his right hand to an angle where he can try and shoot the ball. Does the fadeaway to make just enough room to shoot over Billy. The shot clunks off the rim. Billy runs and grabs the ball as it rebounds. He brings the ball back to the top of the court, made with chalk and spray paint. Billy squirts his body to the hoop and shoots the ball. He misses. James now retrieves the rebound, pulls it back out, and crosses Billy. His opponent slips and falls to the ground, holding his body up with his forearm. James capitalizes on this opportunity, runs back to the basket, and scores. James smiles after he scores. Billy runs over and pushes James to the ground. What's wrong with you? Yells James, now on the floor. What? What you gonna do about it? James gets up fast and pushes Billy back. Billy swings, but James dodges the punch and hits Billy. Billy swings again, connecting with James' face this time. James gets on one knee and holds his mouth. As Billy loads up his entire fist to swing again, Malcolm runs over and holds Billy back from hitting James again. Malcolm says to Billy, chill, chill, it's just ball. Billy shrugs Malcolm off him. Get off me, he says as he walks away. Malika, the girl, standing next to Jasmine, walks over to James and kneels to meet his eye line. Hey, you okay? James looks at Malika, and although his eyes have a shiner and he's a bit blurry from getting punched, he can still see how beautiful Malika is. With her clear black breast skin, as if she was dipped in rose gold, and how the sun reflects slightly off her skin to a younger James. Yeah, you and your sister come with me. James and Jasmine walks with Malika and sits on her front step. She goes inside and comes back out with a plastic bag filled with ice. Here. James put the ice on his lips for a few seconds, then above the cut on his eye. He thanks Malika, though he can barely make up a word, and gazes into her eyes. She smiles. You're welcome. You're welcome. Present time. James grabs the plate and silverware as he continues to explain the remainder of the childhood moment to his nephew. He walks into the kitchen. There she was, the cutest girl in the neighborhood, saw me get my ass whooped. Hey, Uncle James, says Adam with a grin. What's up? James asks, curious to see where this is going. Language. James laughs as he puts the dishes in the sink. He walks back to the dining room table and apologizes for his language. He then continues his story. My name is Malika, by the way. James checks his lip with his hand and puts the ice back on it. He offers his name in return. Malika looks up to see that the street lights are on. That's the cue for everyone to go back home. Malika looks at James and Jasmine and says, I have to get going. James, with his busted lip, responds, yeah, we should go inside too. Thanks for the ice. James, with his busted lip, responds, yeah, we should go inside too. Thanks for the ice. Jasmine says thanks as well. Malika smiles at both James and Jasmine as they walk to the house next door. No problem. Malika walked into her house. James stands still and watches Jasmine, notices and pushes his shoulders, gesturing him to continue walking. Jasmine, come on. She's never going to be into you. James smiled at Jasmine. How do you know? She just saw you get dropped. Come on. James tells his sister to shut up as he opens their front door so they both can enter the home. Patricia sees James bust a lip and runs over to her son, worried. She holds onto his face and examines it for more bruises. What happened? Patricia runs into the kitchen, wets a small rag, and brings it back to the living room. It's nothing, Mom. I'm fine. James tries to move away from the rag that is being forced in his face. Patricia gives Jasmine a stern look to see if she would crack and tell her what happened to James. Jasmine looks back at her mother and says, What? James said it was nothing. Patricia looks at Jasmine. If you want to go shopping tomorrow, I suggest you talk. Jasmine looks at James' face without an ounce of remorse. Sorry, James. James got hit by this big bully. I think his name is Billy. He's like twice James' size. Patricia looks at the bruise again and says to James, Let me see. James moves away from his mom and her coddling. James shows his lip completely without the ice covering most of the lip. You see, it's nothing. Patricia yells for Jim to come out into the living room and see what happened. Jim walks to the living room. What's up? Jim looks at his family and sees James' mouth in pain. What happened? Jim says to James. James looks at his dad in the eye. Like I told Mom, it's nothing. Jim looks at his daughter, who cannot ever lie to him, especially when he gives her the look. Jasmine quickly offers up the answer. This kid, he's like twice his size. Which house does he live in? He lives down the block. I saw the house he went into. Jim looks at James. You come with me. Jim smiles at Patricia and Jasmine. We'll be back. James and Jim exit the house. James tries to hold his father back. Jim continues to move forward no matter how hard James pushes back to try and stop his dad from going down the block. Dad, please, there's no way I'm stopping. You should have kicked his ass. I'll do it next time. There won't be a next time. Sometimes you only have one shot to set the example. This is me setting the example. Just watch. Jim shrugs. James walks away from him as they both walk side by side to Billy's house. Jim knocks on the door. James waits off to the side. Billy opens the door. Billy opens the door and asks with an attitude, "Yeah, is your father home? Why do you want to know?" "Well, because you hit my kid. Is your dad home?" "I'm the man of this house," Billy says with bravado and step a foot closer to Jim. "Is that so?" Billy says nothing and takes a step closer to Jim. Jim slaps Billy in the throat. He starts to gasp for air. Billy crouches down. Jim kneels and whispers in Billy's ear, "Well, then, man to man, you ever touch my son again, I'll do more than just tap your throat." Jim walks away from the house. James gazes back to see Billy. Billy is still trying to catch his breath. James looks back to see what's happening to Billy. Jim says to James. James looks back to see what's happening to Billy. Jim says to James, "Don't look back. Just keep walking back to the house." James feels embarrassed that his father didn't leave the fight to him. Little did he know his father had just set the tone in this matter, hoping that no one would ever feel comfortable harming him in their new neighborhood. Growing up here, Jim learned that they take kindness for weakness. Although he raised James to be kind, he believed that you've to be assertive sometimes and make sure no one bullies you. James and Jim enter the house. Jim tells James to sit on the couch so he can talk to him. Jim paces in the room until he finds the words, crouches down so he can be level with his son. At the end of the day, this town is just like the city, just at a slower pace. Don't come here and think these kids are cool and soft. They're just as tough as the kids in the city, he says sternly. "But isn't this a suburb?" he asks perplexed. "Only by landscape, not by economics. This is an all black community that was redlined. It's been underserved compared to other communities in the area." "Do you know what redlining is?" "No." Jim gets up from his crouched position and takes a seat next to James on the couch. Redlining is when a loan or insurance to an individual in an area is deemed to be a poor or financial risk because of the color of their skin. It's when banks only give loans to people of color in black neighborhoods. Real estate agents only show you homes in neighborhoods with people that look like you and not what your pockets can afford. In a white town, I wanted to move to a small town where you can wake up early morning and hear birds chirp. I wanted you to wake up and feel that anything is possible. Those are my dreams for you. But now let me tell you about the reality of this town. This is a town where people pray for you to show them a sign of weakness so they can take advantage of you. He pauses briefly. "Listen, son, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you live. Until the mentality of people changes, it will be like this practically anywhere you want to call home. You must fight and crawl to earn everything that this country claims can be yours. You will never be free until you free yourself. You understand what I'm trying to say?" Jim touches the temple of James' head. "I think so," he says, still puzzled. "Every day you wake up, you stay focused and do what you're supposed to do. You must outwork everyone. You cannot be just as good. If that is the case, you will be my next door neighbor, picking up a broom with me. Now get out of here. Enjoy your new room. I love you. Love you too." James walks out of the living room and goes to his bedroom. He unpacks another box and looks back out to the living room where his father stands. Jim smiles as he sees his son enter his bedroom. That summer, James knew that he had to buy a computer. At his age, he wouldn't be able to get working papers that are needed to get a job at an establishment. He needed to find a way to make money so he could fund his computer and dream past the circumstances. James decided that he can do yard cleanups and knocked on every house possible, asking if they wanted to use his service. He offered to clean up the yard by removing weeds or planting mulch before. That summer, James knew that he had to buy a computer. At his age, he wouldn't be able to get working papers that he needed to get a job at an establishment. He needed to find a way to make money so he could fund his computer dream past his circumstances. James decided that he can do yard cleanups and knocked on every house possible, asking if they wanted to use his service. He offered to clean up the yard by removing weeds or planting mulch before the next season in some neighbors' flower beds. Of the neighbors that said yes to the potential service, he offered the older ones help with buying groceries. Many of them gave him a small thing to like meet them at the local grocery store, hold the grocery cart, go down all the aisles, grab what they wanted, and take it to their cart and help them load it into their cars. He would then ride his bike back as fast as he could to their home and help move the groceries inside. James even took on car washing for a few homes to earn some money. This job didn't please Jim as it was dependent on his supplies. By the time summer was almost finished, James found his stride and balance in life as a kid in a new neighborhood and making money to help propel him to a better future. The first day of school arrives. James packs his school bag and knocks on his sister's door. She opens the door and puts her book bag on her back. As the two of them go to the front door, Patricia runs into the room with a camera and tells them to stop where they are. They expected this and turn around reluctantly, forcing a smile. Patricia takes a picturing of the two smiling, and before she can cry, James and Jasmine are already out of the house, walking across to Malika's house. James knocks on the door. Malika exits and closes the door behind her. She turns the key to lock the home securely. Jasmine, Malika, and James start their walk down the block to the bus stop. James reminisces on the fun summer he just had. It was a summer where he truly got to feel like a kid. They played from sun up till sundown, stopped only when street lights came to life. They would play manhunt and red light, green light. Occasionally, they would have water balloon fights or play drip, drip, dunk. You name the game, and it was played that summer. As they walk down to the bus stop, Malika turns to him and asks, "How come you didn't hang out with us yesterday?" "I was on my computer," James says. "Doing what?" Malika asks. "Research on home ownership." "You want to leave here already? You've only lived here for like a month." "No, I want to own a home one day so I can sell it for more." I walked into my parents' room and saw them watching some TV show, and I thought it was cool. "So that's what you want to do when you grow up?" "Yes, I'll start with homes and work my way to commercial real estate." James, Malika, and Jasmine get to the bus stop. There, James sees Malcolm and Billy. Malika looks at James, then at Malcolm and Billy. "Hey, don't worry about him. I won't." The school bus arrives at the stop. All the kids get on the bus. The school day was the same as all first school days. A simple introduction to the teacher, followed by recalling the things everyone did over the summer. After school, they found their bus and headed back home. The three get off the school bus and walk up the block to their house. "I heard Miss McGee is tough," from the students she had last year. Malika says, "Really? She doesn't seem so bad." James replies, "I heard she's tough on grades. She's already given us homework for the week." "Do you know how crazy that is?" Malika says, visibly stressed out from the first day of school. "Hey, you want to come by for dinner? We can do our homework together." "I can't. My mom already cooked for me." Shevin runs into the house. James forces a smile, trying his best to hide the disappointment. "That's cool. Maybe next time." The man touches her mother as he focuses his gaze on Malika. Malika nervously moves out of his sight into the kitchen as fast as she can. She checks the fridge and sees there's no food. She then walks into her bedroom, grabs a pillow, and lays across her bed. She takes a deep breath and gets up from her bed, opens the door, rushes out of the house to James' house. At the Rose family home, Patricia hears a knock at the door. Patricia, preoccupied in the kitchen, yells for James to get the door. James walks to the front door, opens it, and is surprised by Malika standing there. "Oh, hey. Hey, do you have room for one more?" James smiles. "Yeah, come on in and have a seat." Malika walked into the house and takes a seat on the couch. James walks to his room and comes back with a textbook and binder. He sits next to Malika and opens the binder. He removes a piece of loose leaf paper and hands it to Malika. He smiles and puts the textbook between the two. A few hours after Malika and James finish their homework, the Roses and Malika sit down to eat Patricia's famous lasagna. As they eat their dinner, they had a conversation about their first day of school, what they expect the school year to be like for each of them. Malika has never been a part of a conversation like this. She thought only the families on sitcoms sit at a table to have dinner. Malika realizes that this is what a family can be. And this is something she admired and would one day want to have of her own. After dinner, James is prepping to do the dishes when Jim tells him to walk Malika over to her house. James listens to his father and smiles at Malika as he opens the door for them to both to walk out of the house. James and Malika stroll by the basketball hoop outside. James grabs a basketball by the court and shoots. Malika grabs the ball out of the hoop and passes it to him. James shoots the ball again. Malika repeats her task too. So what's happening? James asks, "What do you mean?" She acts perplexed by the question. "You're shooting and I'm grabbing the ball and passing it back. I mean, what's happening in your house? You looked shaken when you came back to my place after you said your mom had made dinner for you." "Nothing much. Everything's fine." Malika passes the ball to James, who shoots the ball and makes it. "You know, if there's something wrong, you can tell me. You're my only friend here." Malika grabs the ball and passes it to him again. James shoots and makes it again. "I appreciate that. Maybe one day I'll tell you. But I'll be okay," she responds. Malika passes him the ball again, but instead of shooting it, he just rolls the ball back towards Malika and onto the grass. "You don't have to tell me. I already know." "Know what?" The perplexed expression returns to her face. "I know that you like me," James says with confidence. "No, what? What makes you think that I like you?" "I can give you a few reasons. First, you came by my house for dinner. You asked me to," Malika replies. "But you said yes. You could have easily said no," James utters. Malika rolls her eyes and says, "Whatever." James walks closer to Malika. "Do you find me ugly?" James waits to hear an answer, but Malika instead repeats the question that he asks and waits for him to respond. "Do you think I'm ugly?" "No," James says. "I think you're cute." James smiles. Malika smiles and folds her arms. "Prove it then." James, "How?" Malika unfolds her hands, turns to James and says, "Kiss me." James takes a deep breath and walks closer to Malika. They close their eyes and share an innocent kiss. Present day. James and Adam sit on the couch about to play Adam's video games as he finishes telling the story of how he met the first girl he had a crush on. Although that was the first time we kissed, it was far from our last. Adam says, "Well, you can't stop the story there. What happened next?" "Why would you want to know more? So you can laugh at my pain?" "That's not cool." "No, it's a good story so far. You should think about writing a book. Maybe a different topic than this one, but I think you'll be good at it." "Thanks, kid. I'll let you know if I ever decide to give that a shot. I'll tell you, but I'll leave some parts to your imagination. You're too young for the whole story." Okay, guys, that was chapter 2, called "The Law of Attraction" of the book "We Were Kids Who Found Their Way Through the Cosmos." I will definitely love for you guys all to like and subscribe. And if you're tired of hearing my voice, which is fine with me, you can look at the link below and you can click it to buy the book, um, Kindle or paperback. Thanks again. This is Brenton Woodall. You guys have a great day or great evening whenever you guys decide to listen.